Hello and good day. Today we are going to talk about heads of accounts. I will try to keep my explanation as simple as possible for your better understanding. There are two ways our heads of accounts are monitored and recorded. First thing first, we should understand these two, and then later on we are going to move towards the heads of accounts. There are two ways to record our heads of account. One is debit, the other one is credit. In accounting term, whatever goes out is always recorded on the debit side, and whatever comes in is always recorded on the credit side. So these are the two ways our heads of accounts are monitored and recorded, by debit and by credit. In total, there are 5 heads of accounts, which are asset, liability, capital, expense, and revenue. The easiest way to remember the 5 heads of account is by the term ulcer. ALCER. If you remember ulcer, it will be very easy for you to remember heads of accounts, which are 5: asset, liability, capital, expense, and revenue. Let's talk about asset, our first head of account. Whenever asset increases, it is always recorded on the debit side, and when an asset decreases, it is recorded on the credit side. It is very simple. Whenever our asset increases, it is always put on the debit side, and whenever it is credited, it is decreased. Second head of account is liability. How do we record a liability? Is just the opposite of an asset. Whenever our liability increases, it is put on the credit side, and whenever our liability decreases, it is put on the debit side. It is totally opposite of the asset. Talking about capital, it behaves and it is recorded in the same way as liability. When our capital decreases, it is put on or recorded on the debit side, and whenever our capital increases, it is put on the credit side or recorded on the credit side. Expense also behaves in the same manner as liability and capital. Whenever your expense decreases, it is recorded on the debit side, and whenever it is increasing, it is recorded on the credit side. Last but not the least is the revenue. Revenue is behaving just the way asset was behaving. Whenever our revenue increases, it is recorded on the debit side, and whenever our revenue decreases, it is recorded on the credit side. Simple it is, the way these 5 heads of account behave. I have put this table for your reference, so it will become easier for you to remember and understand. Asset and expense, both of them behave in the same manner. So whenever they are increasing, they will be put on the debit side, and whenever they are decreasing, will be put on the credit side. Liability, expense, revenue. These three behave in a similar manner, and whenever they are decreasing, they will be recorded on the debit side, and whenever they will be increasing, they will be recorded on the credit side. I hope and wish that this explanation and these two explanations, and you can say not table but the figurative representation, will help you to understand and remember heads of accounts in a very easier manner, very easy way.